Hello, and welcome to Appleton Engaged. I'm your host, Timber Smith, DEI coordinator for the city of Appleton.
And I'm Andy Anam, the communications manager for the city.
And Appleton Engaged is a podcast that explores the many people, organizations, and resources that make our community a great place to live, work, and play. So whether you're a longtime resident or just getting to know Appleton, join us as we learn more about our community together.
We have another special guest today, but not from a nonprofit. We get a lot of questions about garbage, solid waste management, pickup, trash. So we have a special guest from Outagamie County who can shed some light on how the county operates.
Shoot, we're bringing in the big guns. We're bringing in the experts. That's what's happening this time around, and I'm excited for this conversation. So this week's guest is Jordan.Hiller, Recycling and Solid Waste Program Coordinator for Outagamie County. Hey, Jordan, how you doing?
Boy, Andy and Timber, you guys sure know how to make an introduction. I got to stand up to this now. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing really, really well. So, can you please tell us about yourself, Jordan, and your association with Appleton and the surrounding Fox Cities region?
Yeah, absolutely. So born and raised here, born in Appleton. Actually grew up in the small town just right on the crossroads of the Fox Valley. It's Freedom, Wisconsin. Everyone knows it just as the farmland, but went off to school, stayed in the area, went down to UW-Milwaukee for a little bit, and Oshkosh, ended up back here in Appleton. My wife and I actually have a house right in the historic downtown, District 1. I gotta say, our house the city of Appleton only predates the building of our house by 23 years. So 1848, and our house was built in 1871. So we've got a lot of history between our four walls.
All right, you got some character going on.
Absolutely.
All right, Jordan, let's jump in. Jordan, can you please tell us about your resource?
Absolutely. So, again, I work for Outagamie County Recycling and Solid Waste. We also go by another name. It's the Tri-County Recycling Facility. Not a lot of people know that it's actually a partnership between Brown, Outagamie, and Winnebago. So the three counties came together in the early 90s to actually build the recycling facility that we have here in Appleton, and we manage it through Outagamie County. But even though it's just those three counties, we actually do a lot more than that. Our facility, we process nearly 16% of Wisconsin's recyclable market. We get material all the way from Sheboygan County, Door County, Shawano County. It's just under 1 million residents worth of material that flows through our facility.
Wow.
Why? And I just asked that, is that just because other municipalities just don't have recycling programs?
No, it's a great question. We're actually the largest publicly owned and operated MRF in the country. MRF stands for Material Recycling Facility, and I used to say we were one of the largest because the largest was in Milwaukee, but unfortunately, due to a fire, that facility was a complete loss as of last year. So that's why it's really vital, and I'm sure we'll bring it up into the conversation, but lithium-ion batteries should never go in either your garbage or recycling cart. They need to be recycled properly and brought to a drop-off location because they can have catastrophic implications.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do put that warning on there all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I question how many of us actually follow the warning.
I would say, unfortunately, this time somebody did not. But that being said, there is not a lot of in the area. I want to say for Outagamie County, we are the RU in the eyes of the DNR, so we're the responsible unit. So we have an agreement with most of the municipalities in the area that their material comes to our facility.
So what brings you to this job? What do you like about this job? Because not everybody wants to take up the all countless calls which comes for the questions and, the craziness it comes with.
To be honest, I stumbled into it. I actually worked at a company called Nature's Way. So they make the vitamins and supplements, and a lot of people don't know their headquarters in Green Bay. Before that, I worked in Menasha at a company called Intertape Polymer Group. The number one question I always ask individuals, I say, have you ever ordered anything from Amazon?
That's a loaded question, of course.
Of course. All right, that tape that comes in the box, it's only made in two places, Midland, North Carolina, and Menasha, Wisconsin.
Wow.
I actually ran the machines that made that tape that went on the box.
Wow.
After my wife and I had our first daughter, I thought about her growing up and having friends, and those friends saying, hey, what does your dad do? and being embarrassed and not wanting her to say that her dad makes pretty trash for a living, I decided to, I said, vitamins and supplements. That's the right way to go. So I've always been an advocate for sustainability. Well, at Nature's Way, I was on a sustainability team. And one of the questions that came up was, how can we make our bottles more sustainable? Is it more PCR? Is it changing the colors? Is it going to a different type of plastic? And I finally raised my hand and I said, have we reached out to any recycling facilities in the area to ask them what would be better? And after a lot of blank stares and no email or replies, I took it upon myself to figure out where our material goes. Found out even in Green Bay that material comes here to Outagamie County. Reached out, scheduled a tour, brought a couple of the C-suite executives through there, and through this whole process, I learned so much. And little things like not bagging or recycling. You can't send shredded paper. Don't crush cans or bottles. Just these little things that make a huge impact at the facility that I was able to change internal processes, not only on the manufacturing level, but at the corporate office level. And after that, I said, how cool would that be to do for 5, 10, 50, 100 companies? So this position opened up and I applied for it, and that's how I got here. So I used to tell people I spent the last 7 years creating waste, and I'm going to spend the last however many years trying to divert it.
That's amazing.
That's great.
So what don't we understand about recycling? Because that list that you were starting to go down, like, I don't think, like, no one ever tells you how to recycle, or at least I haven't found that list. And I feel like everybody just tells you to recycle, but I feel there are proper ways to do it. What don't we, as the regular public, understand about A, why we need to recycle, and B, what's some of the low-hanging fruit ways we should properly recycle?
That was a great way to put it. So why to recycle? What a lot of people don't know is, well, right off the bat, it is better for the environment, saves natural resources, energy. All of that aside, it's actually a law in the state of Wisconsin. So in the early 90s, the Waste and Recovery Act was passed that make certain materials banned from landfills. Things like plastic, metal, glass, certain types of electronics, or most all electronics. There are these items that are physically banned from landfills that need to be properly disposed of. And just some of the low-hanging fruit besides all of that, easy things like not crushing cans or bottles, like I spoke of. So I know everybody's got their milk jug at home or their soda cans, and it's got to be a Wisconsin pastime. Every grandparent has that can crusher in the garage. You go in there, put it in, crush it down, put it into a bag. That worked really well when those went to a metals recycler. What people don't know is how material is sorted at our facility is by dimension. So things that are flat, two-dimensional, they'll float across a piece of our equipment called a disc screen separator. Now there's gaps in between that, these shafts and gears. Three-dimensional objects like bottles, jugs, and jars are going to fall down through to make it to the next location. Well, what happens when you crush a three-dimensional object? It turns it two-dimensional. So every time you crush a can or a milk jug, what happens is that material is actually floating across the top, and it's getting mixed in with the paper line. So two things now happen. That piece of plastic or metal is not getting recycled properly, and now you've just contaminated a paper bale.
That makes way too much sense. And so that's just, no one's ever said, hey, don't be crushing those cans. Because I remember that I was a little kid. I think I bought a pair of skates with my crushed can money. I would have never known that you're not supposed to crush the cans.
And that's only if you're sending them to curbside recycling. Again, If you're bringing them straight to a metals recycler, they actually prefer it because their process is just going into one machine right there, right at the end. This piece of equipment is known as the disc screen separator. That's one of the first pieces of equipment that this material is going to touch when it enters the facility. So therefore, it's just better to keep material whole as is. The only caveat to that is breaking down cardboard.
Okay. What other helpful hints? Because I know that that's just one.
Yes. The next one would be caps and lids on across the board. So leaving your caps, making sure your bottle is empty, putting the lids and caps back on. Again, kind of two things, helps that material keep its form and function, as well as anything less than, say, 2 inches, so smaller than a credit card, is too small for the equipment to pick up, and it actually contaminates the broken glass line. So if you think about all of the soda bottle tops or soup lids that are not attached, all of that material is ending up on the broken glass, and it's contaminating the broken glass. On top of that, the next biggest culprit for contamination there is shredded paper. So as of 2021, so it's a fairly new rule. I get it that some things are confusing with recycling, and with a new rule like this, we're still trying to get the message out. But they've built every suction hose, belt, you name it, to try to collect shredded paper. Unfortunately, when it comes into our facility, one, it turns into a snow globe because it goes everywhere. On a nice rainy day, all of our cars look like paper mache because it blows out in the wind and it covers the parking lots. But if it does get inside, you would think of shredded paper. It's the same shape as broken glass. Now that goes down the broken glass line, goes on the belt, and it starts clogging that equipment to the point where we have to divert it. Now you have to send this very recyclable material, glass, which is infinitely recyclable. You have to divert it to the landfill. Well, we have to send an employee out there to basically clean off this glass shaker until we get all the shredded paper out, and then we can send it back to the proper location. So biggest things, anything less than 2 inches isn't going to make it through the equipment. And please bring your shredded paper to a proper paper recycler.
So you talked about the lithium-ion battery and unfortunate incident we had at Milwaukee. So what people can do normally to avoid that? Because a lot of people don't know how to actually safely dispose it off.
No, absolutely. At our facility, Outagamie County Recycling and Solid Waste, we take lithium-ion batteries, rechargeable batteries, car batteries, anything like that free of charge. It has to just go to our drop-off location, which is our Resource Recovery Park, located right on the property. That address is 1919 Holland Road. It's just right outside of Little Chute.
So I also know that you do a lot. You also handle the social media platform. So is Outagamie County making a lot of videos to educate people and do the outreach so that they dispose of the garbage and trash properly in the way they should?
No, absolutely. I mean, we do everything from social posts. We're running Spotify ads. We're doing radio advertisement. Right now we're looking at going back to TV commercials. If you guys have any ideas on reaching out to the public, I am all ears because, we're hitting all platforms all the time.
Absolutely. So you will see many mails coming from me to just how we can do partnership on this kind of outreach.
I suggest a brat fry.
That's not a bad idea.
You know
Although
what?
I don't think we should host it. I don't know how many people are going to want to come out to the landfill to have a brat fry.
I think you might be surprised. No, this is Wisconsin. That is fabulous. What is a myth that you think people have a misunderstanding about with recycling?
That is an amazing question. So I would say the number one myth that comes up is recycling real? Are we actually doing it? Are you guys just putting it right into the landfill? What's happening to it? So I can only speak for our organization. Those are the numbers I see. Those are the figures I go through every day. But for easy numbers, we'll say we collect 100,000 tons of material a year. There is the residual discharge line. That is the incoming line of material that has entered your facility that either was not sorted properly or was just trash, shouldn't have been there to begin with, that will exit, go into a compactor, and ultimately make its way up to the landfill. The national average is anywhere from 20 to 25%. So that means a quarter of all incoming material is basically just going to landfills. We are very proud of the fact that our facility has never been over 9%. Even though that number is really, really low, we still thought that anywhere from 3 to 3.5% of that material going out was still recoverable, was good metal, was good plastic bottles, but was just being missed in the process, to the point where we actually put large capital investment into 4 new AI robotics that were installed last November. We've got 3 now. 1 will be installed this year. So this technology, we are able to actually put those on the line. They go underneath a camera feed. It has millions, if not billions, of points of data where it looks at its shape, form, color, function, texture, everything. With a high degree of accuracy, can tell if this material is what it thinks it is, and it'll pick it off the line and put it in the correct bunker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so that sounds very...
It's a lot more high-tech than what people... the days of going to the dump and just leaving things are over. We put a lot of time, energy, and capital into saving these resources. Now back to the original question. So of that 100,000 tons, 91,000 of it goes back to market to be recycled.
So let me ask the $1 million question, and maybe it is for real. Who takes the recycled goods? What happens to those? Like once it's recycled, who wants the recycled stuff, right? Because that's the point of recycling. So it actually gets recycled and reused.
Yeah, turned into new products. That's another common misconception when people come to our facility. They say, what do you guys do with it? Well, we are the material recovery facility. What we do is we sort it. So the way that recycling works is everything is single stream. That just means that you can go to your recycling bin at home or in the office, wherever you're at, out and about. You put your plastic, metal, paper, and glass all into one container. We sort that at our facility and then bale everything separately. So once everything's broken apart, then we can then resell that to commodities buyers. Being in what is known as the paper valley, we are very fortunate that our paper and fiber does not have to go far. I think it goes less than 15, 20 miles away. When it comes to selling of those commodities, we always look local first. So we'll start with a small, very small circle surrounding our facility. We'll bring that out to surrounding counties, then surrounding state, and then connecting states. I think the furthest we ship is aluminum, and that's to Georgia. So nothing leaves the U.S. Everything stays pretty local. So it's local buyers. So a lot of this will go through a refining process. So it'll leave our facility, get cleaned, and then be sold to manufacturers of people that make plastic products, the paper pulping plants, things like that.
I'm feeling so proud to even hear that the Fox region is doing so much for the sustainability efforts. Excuse me for that. But the use of smart applications to make it more efficient. I think we should be proud of what we are doing in the region.
Oh, we should be. And the big question is AI taking our jobs? No, it's actually filling positions that we did not have people for. COVID was really bad for our facility. I think we were hovering right around 20 to 30% staffed. Now that things have come back, we hovered around 50 to 60%. So those implementations of those robotics actually put people, we were able to move that staff to other sections of the facility that hadn't seen staff in years.
So what are the signature events which county does to kind of educate people?
Really great question. So we do a couple. Working between Brown, Outagamie, and Winnebago, we run in a class. It's called Master Recycler.
Mm-hmm.
So we run a 101 course where we go into the community, we give a presentation, we show examples, try to get the community involved. If they would like to go further and learn more, we actually offer a 201. We're getting ready for those classes this summer to really get some advocates out into the community that have a really good understanding of the recycling process or the solid waste process in their region so that they can almost be arms of our organization. So we're really excited about that. So you can check out our website. That one would be recyclemoretricounty.org. So stay tuned about more information on classes. Outagamie County specific, we host our household hazardous waste events. That's May through October. So this is where you've had family members that had, stuff that's been in the garage for years. It's got a 3-inch layer of grime and dust on it. You don't know what it is.
I feel like you're giving me a certain kind of look over there.
No, not at all. But just it's that household hazardous, anything corrosive, dangerous, chemical, the nasty, nasty stuff that you don't want to just put in the garbage. We host events one Wednesday, one Saturday in the month. It is by appointment only. You can make those either by calling our office or going to recyclemoreoutagamie.org. We've got a calendar right on our page. You go there, you select a time. It runs from 8 a.m. till 11:45. We can take 80 residents. So if you're a resident from Outagamie County, go ahead and apply. That goes for all residents of Appleton. If you're outside of that Outagamie County region, it's totally fine. But yeah, anything underneath the kitchen sink, the garage, oils, paints, stains, varnishes, we take that and have it disposed of properly. I think last year we saved residents nearly $100,000 in disposal fees.
Oh, wow. How big's your team?
We are a very small team. I want to say internally, like in office level, but outside, I would say we're under 30 to run the whole facility.
Does that include the drivers who are on the road?
It's a great question. So the drivers on the road are actually going to be through a contracted hauling service. So even through, be it solid waste or recycling, that's all either done through your municipality. So Appleton, for an example, has their own pickup for refuse, or our contracted hauler is LRS for Outagamie County.
So now my next question would be sharing a narrative that shows the impact of the organization as well as the people who work in that, because we just normally do calls which are like heated and, hey, my trash wasn't picked up, but they don't sometimes see how much hard work is put on human level to like staff these trucks and, doing the, important work they are doing in the community. So if you can just share some of the stories.
Yes, Andy. And working with some fellow city and county employees, you guys can share that burden of getting those angry phone calls. And I will say I get my fair share. And I understand. I've been in their shoes before working for the county and not understanding why. I've actually had the privilege of doing a ride along with one of our recycling haulers to get that perspective and to see what actually they go through on a day-to-day basis, getting up at 3:30, 4 a.m. to start their 12-hour day. Well, they have to drive the same route, and they go through, and they've got to drive through some very tight spots. I know I park terrible. I'm a terrible parker, and now I think about that every time, and you have to think about how these individuals maneuver through the streets when it's dark. They pick up the bins, and I can tell you a lot of times the biggest reason is just materials jammed in your bin. So you'll have your cardboard or something will be stuck. They'll shake the bin. They've got a camera. They'll watch it, and nothing will. It seems like everything's been out. They'll put it down, and then you get a call a couple of hours later. The resident's very angry because their bin's not empty, and there's just these little things that you don't know. I think really putting it across that there is a person in that truck. You know, they are doing a job. It's a tough job. They do 12-hour days, 6 days a week mostly. They've got a family to go home to. And I understand sometimes they drive a little slow, and you're trying to get to work because you're running late, and you're a little angry at them, and you might get heated, put your hand down on the horn, and try to drive past them. But again, just remember that human element. There is somebody in there. And I think working in this industry, the public tends to look at you a little bit different. We are all the same. We all visit the same places. Our kids go to the same school. And just to remember that, take a deep breath. They're here to do a job, and they're doing a good job. You know, out of sight, out of mind when it comes to recycling and solid waste. I just want the audience to, you know, maybe just take that second next time you get pulled out in front of by a recycling or a garbage truck. They've been out there for a while.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? We just need to be understanding like that. We don't want them to put themselves in harm's way either. So let's all be safe drivers out here and patient with each other.
Yeah. And it's not all bad. I mean, as I said, when I went on that ride along, I saw every demographic of people, and there's individuals where they've been on the same route for, call it 10 years, and homeowners will come out, they'll meet them with their cup of coffee, they'll even offer them a cookie or a water. They sit and have their little chit-chat for, 10 seconds because they don't have a lot of time. They've got to be on their route. But the sense of community, you get a really good feeling when you're in that vantage point up and high in a truck and you get to see the same day-to-day operations. It was a really cool experience.
Is there anything the community can do to be helpful?
It's a great question. There's a lot of things, and I'll take a personal tangent. When it comes to recycling, we talk about the four main categories. You got paper, plastic, paper, metal, plastic. My biggest one's metal. When it comes to metal recycling, curbside recycling specifically, we're really just looking for cans and bottles. So think soup cans, soda cans, things like that. We're not looking for scrap metal. What happens when items such as scrap metal, I'll try to paint a visual example. I know this is a podcast, but imagine a metal ball bearing, no bigger than, say, 2 inches in diameter. So think of a metal bouncy ball, basically. Came through our facility and took us down for over 16 hours and was over $10,000 in damage. Because what happened is this little metal ball bearing got caught in between a coupler on one of our conveyor belts and completely ripped it and shredded it. Between the downtime, the maintenance, the material, and everything, brought us over $10,000 in damage for something as, wouldn't be worth more than a percentage of a penny for metals recycling. But just because it's metal, people think that it goes right in the bin. It can be recycled, but it needs to be brought to a specific drop-off location. So that would be my biggest thing to look at when it comes to curbside recycling. Metal, just do soup cans and soda cans.
Who can people contact if they want to learn more, or which all channels they should go to find out more?
Absolutely. The best way, if you have a specific question, is to reach out on our Facebook page. You can reach out. It's Outagamie County Recycling and Solid Waste. Reach us directly by email, and you can do that at recycle@outagamie.org. Another way, if you have a specific question directed towards me, you can go right to my email, and that is Jordan, Jordan.Hiller, HILLER, @outagamie.org.
Is there any additional information that maybe we didn't ask a question about that you think would be helpful for the Appleton Engaged listeners to know?
Absolutely. So something that we do that's really cool that not a lot of people know of, or I think take advantage of, is that we offer tours of our facility. So you don't have to be associated with any sort of organization or business. You can just be a resident. You can be a business. We get lots of businesses that come through, but we do tours of the recycling center and landfill if we have the chance. So you actually get to go through the facility and see firsthand how this material is brought in, how it's sorted, the process that it goes through, the types of material that comes through. I've given tours, and behind me, they've seen everything from car doors to chainsaws to 20-foot lengths of industrial chain to mannequin heads. So they get a very interesting experience when they come through the facility just to see the vast array of material that shows up that might not should have been there.
Andy, guess what we're going to be doing?
We're going for a tour.
That's right. Tour time. We're totally taking you up on that, Jordan.
Oh, I'd be so happy to have you.
Time for a shout out.
Oh, okay. All right. So I had to think about this one. But being an Appleton native, living right in that downtown district, walking through City Park with my daughters, I cannot think of another best person to shout out would be Shannon, the owner of Moonwater Cafe. It's right off of Law. Sweetest person in the whole world and has the best food. Just found out that it's Timber's secret lunch spot. So sorry for that, Timber. I didn't mean to give it away.
On blast.
Yeah, I didn't mean to give it away, but I've got to give Shannon a shout out. If you haven't been there, check out Moonwater.
Well, Jordan, thank you. At this time, we're going to start wrapping up this episode. Appleton Engaged listeners, we just want to say thank you for giving us your minds and ears, caring about this community, spending time learning about another amazing resource out here, helping to make our community a better place. You know, our goal is to become the #1 podcast in Northeast Wisconsin, and we are working hard at this goal, but we can't do it by ourselves. We need your help to help us do it. What does that look like? Well, do you got any recommendations? You got any suggestions on how we can make this show better? Would you like to be a guest? Would you like to recommend a guest? All of those would be things to help us. Please feel free to reach out to us at diversity@appleton.org. Also, we are this amazing work in progress on its way to becoming the #1 podcast in Northeast Wisconsin. And we need more eyes and ears to learn about this podcast because we think we have something pretty special here. How do we do that? It's called analytics. So while you're listening to us right now, take one quick moment and press the subscribe button. And if you got a few more moments, fill out a review. These things make for great analytics, and the better the analytics, the more people get to learn about this special podcast known as Appleton Engaged.
Thank you, Jordan. Today we learned about a lot of sites we normally don't think of. And I just learned one thing, that however you try to be sustainable and try to update all the technologies, at the end of the day, we all need to be mindful of how we dispose of our stuff in the garbage. Little goes a long way. So Appletonians, if you're listening to us, we need to do better when we recycle our stuff. And if you want to learn more, Jordan has shared a bunch of resources as well as the Facebook pages to go and check out. And we will try to be sustainable in our household efforts and also raise our next generation with that. With that, until next time, stay thoughtful, stay curious, and stay engaged.
All right, thank you.